Hi everyone. Today I just want to talk with you about values. So, why are they important? Why do we need values in the first place? So, there are a lot of reasons to when you look at an image, sometimes it doesn't translate how it should. So, I will first start with showing you what I mean by it doesn't translate. So, I just drew for this example an image, right? So this is like practice. So what you see here, I put minimum color just to make a little difference from, for example, from this side of the giraffe or kind of giraffe, or and this uh, like part of the wall. And you can assume a lot of things, for example, in the background that where these kids are, and you see, I'll just zoom in a bit. But when you look at this image, you just feel that it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't have depth. It doesn't have what it needs, you know. So basically, it doesn't matter how many strokes I put on in this wall. It just doesn't, because I draw directly without values. I just draw directly with the color, and I try to simulate, let's say, shadows and so on, but directly with the color. Normally, you don't start directly with the color unless you are really experienced. So, what how this is how the eye actually perceives this image. So, when you look at this drawing, you can understand that there are some architectural stuff and so on. So, some planes will be lighter than the other. So I will just enable this black and white filter. So how the eye actually sees in the background, which you will automatically describe this image. So for example, look, I will just activate the black and white, and you can usually the image should read at any size. So for example, now this is like full screen, right? So it's like as much full screen as I can get, and you can see clearly that there is no difference. There is no difference between like this wall and this wall and this wall and this wall. Everything is more or less the same, and even the boys here, the humans here, they don't have any distinction. So it just looks flat, right? No matter how many like brush strokes I put, it still looks flat. And how to tackle this is usually by looking in the right corner here. You have this navigator, right? And that gives you some kind of sense of how the image looks like from far away. We have advantage over a studio, that you have basically you can zoom in as much as you want, you can zoom out as much as you want, and normally you would have to do this, make it small, right? You make it small, the image, um, and then big again, so you can draw. If you go too much in inside, then also like it's you can see it very clearly that this part here down and this part, these two, there's not much going on, there is no difference. So basically, if it wouldn't be this line here in the middle, you wouldn't basically even understand that this is actually inside, and this part is actually inside, and it has like a depth. So before we put shadows, before we put anything, so this is just like a filter, right? I put, which I make it to look. You have to think about thresholds. This is really important. So right now, you see, for example, if I use the picker and I touch anything, you see on the right, on this side of the screen, everything is more or less the same. It doesn't go up too much, doesn't go down too much. It's almost like everything is 64, 65. Sometimes it goes to 70 in the darkest area and so on. So it doesn't have a lot of variation, and everything is more or less flat. And to prove this to you, I will need to go to okay, image. There is this like filter. There is this filter which basically, let me just find it a little. Distort, no, it's called render. Yeah, so under render, maybe not there. There are these very good filters that you can put just to give you an idea of what I mean, how the actual eye sees. So let's see. Maybe it's not here, maybe it's not here. Adjustment, pasteurize, yes. So basically I found it. So you go to pasteurize, and then these are basically the levels. So this is level 4, and you can see basically everything is more or less the same. So you go and you start increasing, and then nothing changes. So from the biggest change is from 2, where you can see clearly that the boys are highlighted basically, and then when you go to 3, already you can see the difference, and 4 and 5, and then from 10 onwards, not much going on. You want these levels to be like to cover more ground, have a lot more depth, to have a lot more than just 2 levels. So that's why it's so flat. So this is just like an example. You can try this with any of like master paintings or whatever, if you download from the internet, and you can see clearly that those have a wide range of like blacks and whites and grays and so on. So the example here, this is just like, it's just what not to do, right? This is what I made just for this like practice drawing, right? Just to put some people here. What you want to do is do this. So what am I doing here? So this is basically 2 values. You don't need grays, you don't need, you see, I put here, you have to look in the right corner. So I pick anywhere where it's dark, and it always stays 100. And I go to white, then everything stays with 0 and 1, 0 and 1 basically. It's very binary drawing. And you can see, for example, when it's like full screen, you can understand what it is. Even though there are just 2 colors, basically, it's just the white and the black. There's no gray, there is no dithering, there is nothing. There's really nothing. It's just black and white, and you can still understand how it reads, right? What I mean how it reads is if you understand the volume inside, even though there are 2 colors, you can still understand the volume. You understand that it's a face of a woman, right? It's a face anyway, and you can see it also on the right corner. It's very clear. It's like a very clear thumbnail. And another example, for example, this should be done with anything really, like plants or people or portraits or anything, architecture. And for example, in the next image, I made like what is this? It's a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. You can see the cup and the plate, and you can see, for example, inside where the liquid is and so on. So again, it's black and white, and it shows like also the volume. You understand that this is like the rim of the cup, and these are like, where you grab it, and you can see also like this part is like a little like reflection or of the cup in the corner. And you don't need to go crazy here. It's just 2 values, and try to describe what you're seeing, and it needs to read clearly. So if I zoom out, you still understand, right, that it's like a cup. It's not any confusion. what I'm looking at. And again, with the people, with like a portrait, you can go here, and this is another example. So this is like based on the same principle. The eye, you understand here that it's an eye. Your brain uses just two values, white and black, and you already understand that, this is the eye socket, and this is a little this part, for example, it's like the upper limit of the eye, of the eye socket, and here is a little shadow, but it all melts together into this doesn't have, by the way, like highlights. And if you want highlights, I put just, but it's not really necessary. This part here, this part, let me just choose this part here. It's all highlight, and you demonstrate it by removing basically the darkness. And also the ear here is very clearly defined, and when you look at this image, you understand what it is, right? It's a woman looking at you at the camera, and you can see the shoulders and so on. You can see also like a lot of details. So what I'm saying is that you don't need to go out of your way to understand value. Two colors are enough. If you add more, it's fine, but first you need to understand two values. And this is one of the most important thing. Before, for example, if I'm doing a portrait of this woman, first I need to go into this like darker black and white. You need the values to place them, and then on top of that then are let's say details, and on top of that there are the colors. The last are the colors. So this drawing basically is like 90% done. Nothing should change from this drawing. This should be like the image. And look, I will demonstrate you another from scratch how I'm going around. So what you need is basically just a hard round brush. Make sure that it doesn't have any like transmission, so it doesn't melt into grays and so on. So you just need two colors, right? And I just set the background to gray because not to be so hard on your eyes, but usually it's white default is good enough. So so what I'm trying now to do is demonstrate that how to think when you're drawing with these two values, when you're drawing the values. So I'm trying to draw like a woman looking sideways, like that, from an angle, and maybe it's a little like weird, but I'll try to do my best to also to explain at the same time. So you can try two ways. So you can make, for example, make her all dark. So you can say, for example, I want this woman to have the shoulders around here, and then to go her body to be here. Here it should be like the head, right? So you can start like that, and then like chisel with white. So you can set the threshold for your drawing, for the values however you want, but usually it's good to do with light, where the light goes. So for example, the forehead, I imagine it's around here, then her cheeks would be around here. You don't need to be, that's why you see I went with such a big brush. I'm with 150, is because I'm trying to look at this image initially, to have the placement correct, and then maybe the neck will be around here, then maybe, I don't know, some shoulder, and that's it. I'm just putting the values here, and they don't need to be exact, they don't need to be correct. The placement should like show what I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking now is that I need to put her face around here, and then the shoulder here. This is the most important thing for me. And then for example, the hair could go like this, round, and then around the head. And also, I'm trying to look at this image, the big one, but I'm trying also to look at this small one, and both should read correctly. And you can say, but wow, how do you know where to place these things? Well, you don't need to know in advance, right? You can just look at this. You can place it and then correct it. That's the beauty of it. So you have just two colors, right? So you cannot go, uh, you know, very wrong. So then you can think like how the neck is, and you can switch between with X between colors. So it will be like very easy. You don't need to go to menus or anything. Um, and for example, you can imagine where the shadows are, where the eye is. For example, where the eye, usually make it with dark. Not because the eye is dark, but because the placement should be around that part. And also like the underneath of the mouth, and uh, the chin, and so on. And then the underneath of the hair. So should have hair like this. And you can see also on the right side, it's already started um, to come to life. Let's say it's coming to life. And okay, so I'm going like this, and maybe the hair, I decided actually I want more light on the hair. So this is not just like light placement, but um, it's like a combination. It's a combination of light and shape, because I'm trying to describe a shape. So I know that her chin, I keep forgetting this word, sorry. This chin should be around here, right? And then I know that actually her lips would be a little in light, and then maybe on this part of the face, on the and then her nose would be round like that. And also like check left, check right, check left, check right. And also like this part of her face would come like that. So my goal here is to describe shape with two colors without thinking too much. It's like this is a value demonstration. So you can put her eye like that. It doesn't matter if it looks like a little a little scary, a little Terminator style, but it needs to read. That's my, if I have to put my money on something, I'll put it on this, that it needs to read from all the angles. And you can just go back and forth and back and forth however you want, however is comfortable to you. It's not really the perfect way, but this is what I like to do. And I know, for example, that her mouth wouldn't, like, you can make her smile a bit. She looks too serious. Like this, right? And yeah, again, we don't need to go into details, because my goal is not to go into details. I'm not trying to draw it like that. I'm trying to understand where the light goes, where I should place the next thing, and how to describe that in like volume. So you can go like like that a bit to show that part, and then for the neck, it could be like the light, how it would come on her shoulder like this, and then go like that. And with this hair, with this part of the hair, you can go like this, right? And another thing is that if you want, for example, to actually make this part, to draw this part, you can, but you need to draw it with light. So I'll try to demonstrate. So I'll make the brush is white, right? And what I'm trying to make is make it like this. It'll make sense soon, I promise. And then this part, the upper part, it just blends like that. And then on this side, it would be black. So I will explain what I did. So since we're like limited with just two colors, you need to make basically if you want to set the limit to your blacks, you need to set it with white and the other way around. So okay, so I'll make it like this a bit to show that this is her like shoulder and how it goes. And then about the hair, I can make it a bit longer like that, and maybe to eat it from on this side. So again, you need to set. For example, I want to draw this shoulder, and it's already like her hair is light, so I need to draw it kind of like this with the black. So you already know that this is the end of her, the beginning of the shoulder. And generally, based on the same principle, I could make this part, but I will not. I will let it how it is, and you will understand that actually this white here, I added it, so it will show actually where her body ends and where the next thing begins. And on the left side, I put the black here, also to emphasize her hair. So her hair would be kind of like this, and then go and then lose itself like that. Let's say. So and that's enough. That's enough. So you look at this and you say, okay, but why should I think like that? The reason why you have to you should and you have to think like that if you want to make a good drawing is that if this image, if this at this level, which is like the first level possible, if it doesn't make sense, then all the other, when you start adding colors, when you start adding like grays and whatnot, then you'll not understand what you're doing. It will look like this. It will look like flat like this, and you don't want to do this. Now if I want to save this image, I need to go in like crazy length to make it work. But like this is much easier from here, because everything is very clear. No matter how big or small I make it, it's very clear what I'm doing and how it should read. And so kind of homework for you is you need to look at images in a way that they are very easy to understand. You need to make them make sense. Let's put it like that. So we know that, for example, this part will be white because it's like the bridge of her nose, and this part inside will be also like that, and then maybe a bit round. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. This is good enough for the beginning, and then you can add other stuff like shapes and contours and whatever. But this needs to read. If this doesn't read, then it doesn't really make sense. So, for example, here on the top, how do I deal with this? So in two ways. One, you just finish her head, but it looks bad, or you just let it be. Yeah. Any desire to make it better, it makes it worse. You see? It's why would I do that? I'm not trying to describe the shape like that. So I need to remove it. And then your imagination is actually the one which does the work and finishes her head. Like this. You can make it skinnier like that. It's good enough. So guys, please practice this. Just go in two colors, black and white, and you need to master this, and from there you can go into more complicated value like progression. But this is like the bread and butter. So you need to make first this and then go beyond. So guys, I hope you understood what I'm trying to show here, and please let me know in the comments if it makes sense, if you want like part 2, and yeah, I hope you have a great day ahead. Bye bye.